Finish tonight with the story of some of Queensland's remarkable children. Each year, around 100 Queensland kids are diagnosed with cancer. The figure's steadily rising, but these youngsters tend to be survivors, tackling the disease with a spirit that defies the odds, as Tracy Pollock discovered.
We think that God was shining down on us and handing out a big miracle with Billy.
Yes, for sure.
Definitely.
At only 19 months, Billy Drew has already fought the biggest battle of his life. By all accounts, this little toddler should be dead. In January, doctors gave Billy no chance of life after he was diagnosed with a brain tumour.
Dr. Atkinson said that it was not good and basically to expect him to die. He was dying in our arms anyway at that stage. He was 12 months then, and we were told that really that even if he operated, the outcome would basically be the same. He would die as he was, and it was such high risk going in that he would, the chances weren't good.
Kathy and Paul Drew couldn't stand back and watch their son die. Their only choice was to let doctors operate, to remove a tumour 7 centimetres long from little Billy's head.
How did you feel when doctors said your child was going to die?
Actually, I think it fell on deaf ears.
It did. It's very hard because you just don't think it's going to be it's not my son. You know what I mean? Like cancer in your own family is just, it's not there. You know what I mean? It's 100 miles away. You just don't. You never think it's going to happen to you.
The family braced themselves for the worst. If Billy survived, there would be the loss of speech, vision. He may need to learn to walk again. In fact, there would be a lot of problems. But someone forgot to tell Billy.
He came out of theatre. He was as bright as a button, clapped eyes on his mum, wanted his mum, and it was wonderful. We could accept it, that sometimes with cancer comes death. Our prayer was for our little girl. It's very hard to tell a 3.5-year-old child, guess what? That boy that you're falling in love with more and more every day isn't going to be here anymore. Guess what? He died last night. So we needed Billy to stay for her.
Billy is one of 100 children in Queensland diagnosed with cancer every year. Sadly, Australia-wide, cancer in children is on the increase.
In 1997, something like 70%, so 7 out of 10 children that are diagnosed with cancer would be expected to be cured and become reasonably healthy young adults. That figure, in fact, varies a lot depending on the sort of malignancy we're talking about, but on the whole, it's actually good news rather than doom and gloom.
Dr. Ram Sapaya is the director of the Kids Cancer Clinic at Brisbane's Mater Hospital. He says better diagnosis means there are often miracles.
I'm often amazed at how resilient children are and how they pull through.
Who wants juice?
When 11-year-old Carolyn Wagner started to fill out around the belly, her local doctor told her parents to put her on a diet.
At first, we thought she was just putting weight on. Not enough exercise and too much sort of rubbish food.
No one could even imagine a tumour the size of a football had grown on her ovaries. Even Carolyn had no significant pain.
What did you think was happening to you?
I just thought I was putting on weight, just like everybody else did.
Carolyn looked like she was pregnant, and kids at school started to tease her.
They were just saying, Carolyn's pregnant, blah, blah, blah. And like they'd yell it across the oval and all this other stuff.
What happened when you told them it was a tumour?
I was in hospital and Mum went up to the school to tell them, and a few of them nearly cried, and one of them did because she'd been so mean to me.
Carolyn's cancer was too big to cut out. Doctors hoped chemotherapy would bring it down to an operable size.
I just thought, oh no, like I just thought, you know, cancer, you cut it out, throw it away and it's gone. But to say that it's too big to operate on was really just sunk home, really felt devastating about that.
But Carolyn pulled through, and despite having to remove one of her ovaries, her future looks bright. Her only wish now is for her hair to grow back, now that chemotherapy is over. Through early diagnosis, science has given these kids their best chance of survival. But Kathy Drew says holding together at the toughest times also helps them along.
My advice is really keep the lines of communication open and just remember how much you need each other, how much you love each other.
And if you want to help kids with cancer, the Mater Hospital is holding its 5Ks for kids on Sunday morning at South Bank. I hope you can come along for that. See you next week. Good night.